I am quite elusive and private, but I guess all of that is starting to change. Hey family, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing wonderfully well. Today's video is going to be 50 questions about me answered. I remember when I started this channel, I did a getting to know me, and since then, I've not really done anything. And since I'm being committed to authenticity and truth, I thought it would be good to let you guys know a little bit more about the person behind the channel. I am a person, I do have likes and dislikes, and sometimes I know that probably is clouded by my strong beliefs and convictions and teachings, but I want you to know me as person as well, as sister, as friend, and I pray that this video will help you to do that. And maybe we've got more in common than we think we do. Maybe we've disagreed on convictions or beliefs, but in this Q&A, maybe you're going to find out something that we have in common. Someone quite close to my heart also told me that I can be quite serious on YouTube, and I know I am a serious person, but I'm also a fun and crazy and laughy and jokey person. And so I guess with this video, I'm giving you a little sneak peek into the me that the people who are in my life on a day-to-day basis see. Crazy me, the fun me, and all of the things in between. Before we get started, I want to signpost you to a blog post I've written for the month of October, which is being persistent in prayer. Do make sure you check it out. This October, ladies, we are going to be praying and intentional about seeking the face of God through prayer. Okay, so let's get into the questions. Question number 1, what is your name and what does it mean? So I have loads of names, but let's go with the 3 main names that you will find me on anything that you search me for, and that's Joanne Olayinka Adeluola. Joanne is my baptismal name, and that means God is gracious. It's kind of a spin off of the male name John, and there is another form which is Joanna, but I'm not a Joanna, I'm a Joanne with an E. My second name is my Yoruba name, which a lot of people do know me by, and that's Olayinka. And Olayinka means wealth surrounds me. So I think wealth can be taken as a material thing, but I have been praying about it to mean an abundance of all good things. So not just physical wealth, but spiritual wealth, emotional wealth, a wealth of support and relationships, a wealth of value and meaning in my life. And I know that my parents gave me that name because they wanted that to be a manifestation in my reality. And God has been faithful in that. I've seen that in so many areas of my life. It's common in Yoruba culture to name children based on what you want their lives to be a testimony of, and I'm grateful for mine. And my surname is Adeluola, so that means, it has many meanings, but one of the meanings that we like to use as a family is we arrived in a wealthy city. So wealth, again, not just physical wealth, but a wealth of joy and happiness and abundance. Question number 2, where did I grow up? I grew up in London, Camberwell, South East London to be exact. My family moved around a lot though, so I've lived in Kent before, I've lived in South East London, I've lived in South West London, but Camberwell, SE5 was where I grew up. Question 3, where do I currently live? So I currently live in South West London, which is Streatham. My family are in the process of moving house, so we'll be moving back to Kent and away from London because city living is really not for us anymore. I think we've done it, the hustle and bustle, and being the youngest child, all my siblings are grown up, so everyone's kind of starting their own lives, and my parents just kind of want to retire away to a more quiet and slow paced life, and I'm all for it. The next question, what year was I born in? I was born in 1996 in July, so that makes me 25. My first best friend was a girl called Hillary. We went to primary school together and we just really got along. We had so much fun, so many jokes. I may have had a best friend before that, but I can't remember. Am I a dog or a cat person? Definitely a dog person. I love dogs. I love how active they are and how obedient they are and how you can train them and tame them. But in terms of what pet am I most likely to get, I think I'd be most likely to get a cat, simply because they're a lot lower maintenance. Dogs need to be walked multiple times a day, whereas cats are quite lone rangers. They kind of get along with what they want to get along with, but then sometimes they cuddle up to you. So I love dogs, but if I were to get a pet, what would be most suited to my lifestyle? Maybe a cat. Favorite drink? I love Iron Brew, which is like a Scottish drink. It's really sweet though, so now I dilute it down with water, and I like to squeeze a little bit of lime in it. It tastes really good. I also like Fanta Fruit Twist, but I think that was a childhood drink. Something that I like to drink now, Probably ginger beer. I love ginger beer, yes. I think ginger beer is the best for all seasons of my life. Again, squeeze of lime and we're good to go. Favorite holiday destination? So I think it would have to be Southeast Asia. I love Southeast Asia. The weather, the culture, the languages, the people. It's a lovely change from Western and African culture. I mean, I love Africa too, but I guess in terms of the place where I am challenged the most and learn and also enjoy the holidays, probably Southeast Asia. Favorite celebrity? I don't really have one. I'm not big on following up with celebrities or anything like that. I guess that just kind of goes back to my convictions with what I think is fruitful and the best use of my time. However, in terms of actors, I can say a few actors that I do think are great, and one is Liam Neeson. So he did the Taken series. I remember when I was in secondary school, that was a big thing. Taken 1, Taken 2, Taken 3, and he acted very superbly in that. And then the second actor that I do enjoy watching is Gerard Butler. So he performed amazingly in a movie called Law-Abiding Citizen. And those two movies are probably like some of my classics to go to. Favorite physical activity? So I enjoy running. I love running. I do run probably 2 to 3 times a week. I've also recently picked up swimming. So I used to swim when I was in secondary school, and then I kind of got out of it. And over lockdown, I was like, you know what? You need to cross train, you need to do something else, because I was running quite long distances. So I think I'm now really enjoying swimming and really enjoying learning how to swim, the different strokes and the way in which it makes my body feel. I love it. Favorite type of clothing? I love dresses. Favorite hobby or way to pass the time? So I really enjoy writing. I have a blog, which is where I do a lot of writing and sharing and teaching. I also enjoy reading, so I am starting a book club soon, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. Still in the process of figuring that out logistically, but I love reading privately and also in groups. And I also love going for walks. For me, walking is a big part of my life. Try to walk about at least an hour a day, some days up to 3 hours a day. And it's an opportunity to just clear my head, you know, let go of thoughts, reflect on the day, almost release negative energy and forgive and pray, and also seek direction for the following day. And I also enjoy listening to podcasts too. So there are quite a few podcasts that I enjoy listening to. A couple names of them that I would drop if you want to have a look is Truth and Fire, Revive Our Hearts, Biblically Sound Woman podcast, and more recently I've been listening to The Deep Well by Erin Davis. There's loads more that I listen to, but those are a few of my go-to podcasts. Am I a good cook? Absolutely am. Favorite shows? Dragon's Den, MasterChef, again I love cooking, and The Apprentice when it was on. I'm not sure if it's on anymore, but the UK one, not the US one. Tea or coffee? All the way tea. I am a tea person. I love teas of different flavors, different spices. I just enjoy the aromatic, you know, vibe surrounding teas and brewing and smells, etc. Any books that have changed my life? Yes, so controversial book now because of all the press surrounding the author, but Why I Kissed Dating Goodbye by John Harris was a huge game changer for me. It changed the way I approached dating, it changed the way I approached opposite sex relationships, it changed the way I approached my boundaries, physical boundaries, emotional boundaries. It changed the way in which I wanted to honor God with my relationships, with my romantic life. And I think when I read that book the first time, that's when God started teaching me about purity, and he was teaching me not just about purity culture, which can be toxic, but the real meaning of purity, not just being abstinence from sex, but pursuing holiness and pursuing righteousness in all spheres of life, with my words, with my conduct, with my deeds, with everything. And yeah, that book was transformative. How difficult do I find it to forgive someone who refuses to apologize? I find it very difficult, very difficult. I think I do appreciate when people acknowledge their wrong and almost make a concerted effort to turn things around or be better or do better. So if someone repeatedly offends me and refuses to apologize, I will find it hard to forgive them. The way in which I will find the power or the strength to forgive will come simply from knowing that God has forgiven me, and it would have to be God's love pouring out into my heart that will help me to forgive the person, and not just say I've forgiven them and kind of hold it as a grudge, but truly let go and still approach them as if they've not done anything wrong to me. Who are my favourite YouTubers at the moment? So right now I'm really enjoying 𝐬𝐿MADRevolution. Not a Christian YouTuber, but a philosophical YouTuber who takes a very, I would say, stoic / monkish approach to life, and that manifests itself in his approach to eating, in his approach to relationships, in his mindset towards addiction and so many things. So I would recommend it. It's interesting actually because he once was a Christian, so he used to be a pastor in a church. I don't know how long ago, but a while back, and he basically renounced his faith and is kind of pursuing Gnosticism. So I would say you have to guard your heart and almost take the meat, leave the bones when you're watching anyone who's not a Christian. Even Christians, you still have to be a Berean, but more so when someone outrightly declares that they have walked away from the faith. However, I will say in my journey to becoming more stoic, to becoming more like Christ, to becoming less bound to material things in the world, he has given me some pearls of wisdom that I have applied and also found its origins in scripture. Do I speak any other languages? So this is one area that I do regret not being more intentional about. I've learned 4 languages in my lifetime, or 5 including English. I've learned English, I've learned French, I've learned German, I've learned some Chinese, and I've also learned Yoruba, and I've also learned a bit of Hebrew at a time as well, actually. However, I didn't carry any of them through, so I kind of dropped. I did my GCSEs in French and German and I dropped it, and I just kind of dropped the rest as well. So Yoruba I do understand and speak to a certain extent, but I do understand it quite well. English obviously fluent, and Chinese I could have basic conversation in it. French and German I could have basic conversation in it, but I'd have to brush up on it if I was going to do anything deeper than that. Am I single or taken? I am taken. How would I describe my fashion sense? So I would describe my fashion sense as classy, timeless, simple and feminine. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. How many siblings do I have? I've got 2 siblings. I'm the youngest of 3. I've got an older sister who's the eldest, and then a brother. PC or Mac? I've got a Mac. What's my eye colour? My eyes are boring. Dark brown. Most memorable childhood memory. So I have loads of childhood memories, but one of the ones that I'm thinking of in my mind now is when I was younger and I'd come back from school and my mummy would make me like mashed potato with chicken breast inside, and I just used to love it. I don't know, it's so simple, but the mashed potato was so soft and creamy, and then the chicken was kind of mixed into it, and sometimes I would put ketchup on top because I'm a ketchup fiend, and yeah, made me happy. What are my bad habits? So something I've noticed about myself, and this is actually quite recent, I tend to waste tissue a lot. So even toilet roll, kitchen roll, I tend to waste it a lot, and it's bad because these are things you're going to throw away anyway, so you may as well maximize the use when you are using it. Something I've got to be aware of. Dream job as a kid. I always wanted to be a dancer. I used to do break dancing when I was like in my early teens. Have I failed in anything? Yes, I failed so many times in my life. I remember the first time in secondary school, I think I got a D in English. And I was so like distressed. I got moved from top set to middle set because I would mess around, I wouldn't read the books, I wouldn't do my homework. And then eventually I became a lot more diligent and focused, and I studied hard, got my grades, etc. And then again I failed when I applied for medicine the first time and I didn't get any offers. In fact, I didn't fail, they just didn't want me because I got my grades, I did well in my aptitude tests. I'm not going to go into this, but I failed then again as well. And then I remember in my final year of my master's, I failed one of my exams. And so, I mean, this is academic failure, but there are loads of failures in my life, and failure is the only way in which I know I grow, and also I become sobered to the reality of the need to be diligent and to work hard, and also to not divide up my energies too much, so not overcommitting to so many different things that the quality of each thing I'm doing becomes diminished. That's an area which I'm actually being disciplined in right now, and being able to say no, being able to respect my limitations as a human being, and trusting God with the things that I have to leave behind. Tell us about your family members. So I've written down some adjectives to describe each person in my family, just to give you a taste of who they are, what they're like. So my dad, he's charismatic, cool-headed, playful, and also very diplomatic. So when it comes to arguments in the house, my dad is like that, you know, overarching voice of reason that brings the calm, that, you know, understands everyone's side of the argument and helps everyone to just be friends again. That's my dad. My mum, so my mum is organized. She is the militant, you know, everything in its place at its time, in its season. She wants everything to be perfect. As a result of this, sometimes she can be a bit of a stress head, but she's a stress head in a good way, because it's actually towards the end of getting things done. Like for me, when I have loads of things to do, she's the one who remembers, don't forget to do this, Yinka, don't forget to do that, pulling me up on things, keeping me accountable, and I need that in my life. And my mum is also funny, so we have so much banter together, like little in-jokes that no one else in the family know about, and we can laugh and joke about things. My sister, so my sister is a good sounding board to tell and speak through problems, emotional problems, mostly emotional problems. She's really into mental health coaching, so she's a good sounding board. She's comforting as well and reassuring. She knows how to affirm you, and not just affirm you using weightless words, but affirm you with truth. And then also my sister's quite bossy, but she's the oldest, so she's had to be able to learn how to be in charge. My brother, he's motivated. He's always been very ambitious in life. He's been very independent. He's been the type of person to set goals and reach and surpass them. He's been good with wealth management and money and business. And he's also a protector. So my brother is very protective over me and also my older sister. And he doesn't want any harm to come in our way. He doesn't want anyone to treat us anyhow. Like, yeah, I think he's very protective and loving in that way. What is my favorite color? So I have two different, depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about my favorite color to wear, I love wearing mustard, like ambers and autumn colors. If we're talking about my favorite color to look at, so flowers or decoration, I quite enjoy light purples and pinks. What's my personality type? I don't know, I think I'm a choleric. I'm gonna put the link or whatever in the description. I'm a choleric. I remember I did this test once with a friend, and there are like 4 types. I'm a choleric and melancholic. Yeah, I'm a mix between those two. So on one hand, I'm very, you know, goal-oriented, focused, determined, ambitious, but then on the other hand, I can be quite emotional and almost taken aback by change or crazy life events. So I'm a mixture between the two. Which social media platform am I addicted to? This is funny because I made a whole video about social media and the truth about it, and I hardly use social media. In terms of what I use regularly, I would say WhatsApp, because most people are on WhatsApp now, so that's kind of become like my texting platform. And then I use YouTube, obviously, because I have a channel, but I also do watch other YouTubers too. Facebook is more just to keep up with events for what's going on at university, courses, programs, Zoom, all of that. What am I addicted to the most? Or, I mean, maybe YouTube, because YouTube's also for music, it's also for church live streaming, it's also for... So I wouldn't say I'm addicted to any. If I'm honest, I'm not addicted to any, but what I use the most is probably YouTube and WhatsApp. What's the biggest struggle I've overcome in life? I've overcome many struggles. I guess it's related to my failures, but one that I am proudest of, and the one that I think has liberated me the most, is overcoming the need to be approved by other people, overcoming the need to be accepted by irrelevant people. Of course, I want to be approved and accepted by my family, by my friends, and by, you know, Christian brothers and sisters, but people outside of that, I've learned to have less of an expectation of being accepted and of being welcomed and received, you know. Even in Christian circles, etc., I have a lower threshold still, but overall I've just come to fully grow into who I am, fully back myself with who God has called me to be, and be okay with people not accepting that or not approving that or not understanding that, and not feeling as though it's a direct attack on me, but saying, you know what, they don't have to like me. I don't have to be everyone's cup of tea. Like, I am not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But those of us who are on the same page, yes, I'm going to celebrate that. And those who are not, that's okay. I can walk away and move on with my life and not allow it to get me down. So absolutely being able to overcome the need to be approved by people in the way I act, in the things I do, in the decisions I make. As long as God approves me and I have that check and sign from the Holy Spirit, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. What's my first email address? It was embarrassing. Yes, it was embarrassing. So when I was younger, I had this obsession with Winnie the Pooh, and specifically Tigger in Winnie the Pooh. So I'm just gonna type it down so you can see. Really embarrassing, I know. What's one thing on your bucket list? So I have this desire to do a bit more writing and maybe write a book. I don't know though, it's still in my head. How tall am I? I'm 5'2". Who is my inspiration? So I go through seasons and stages with inspirations, but right now, the person, the author, the speaker who is inspiring me a lot is Elizabeth Elliot. She is an author, a speaker, a Christian woman, advocate for missionary work, but also an advocate for womanhood and motherhood and raising children. So she has such a breadth of good resources, and I'm reading one of her books at the moment now. Actually, it's called Let Me Be a Woman, and she writes these letters to her daughter who is about to get married and preparing for motherhood and wifehood, sharing her experiences, sharing what she's learned about what makes a successful marriage, what makes a husband and a wife and that unit to be a strong, cohesive unit. So I love her writings, I love her work. She is so inspirational for me, and that's someone I would say definitely check out. What are my best qualities and characteristics? I'm going to let you answer that question. If you're still here in the video, put in the comments below, what do you think is my best quality or characteristics? I would love to hear what you think. What's my best physical feature? I would say my smile. Yeah, I would say my smile. It's quite unique and full. I get complimented on it a lot, and yeah, I do like my smile a lot. What is my biggest fear? One of my biggest fears is growing old alone, or just losing people as life progresses. It's quite scary to think that at one point in life, I will move from being the youngest in the family to potentially being the oldest in the family and having grandchildren, children, etc. And losing parents, losing siblings, losing cousins. It scares me a lot. It's something I pray about a lot, that just, Lord, please, I know it's gonna happen. None of us can live forever, but help me to be as prepared as I can be for that season when it approaches, such that I'm not completely crushed and just bamboozled by it all. In what ways have I shown the most courage in my life? I think one of the ways is really coming out about my faith, and not just coming out, but putting it out there for people to see. You know, being online, being on YouTube, having a blog, saying things that are quite countercultural and, I mean, not intentionally so, but quite contentious. That's been a huge step of courage and a huge step for me to truly proclaim the God I serve, the God I love, the God that has changed my life. And I think that's been the most courageous thing that I've done in my whole life. Who's the first person I call when something exciting or horrible happens? Definitely my mum. My mum is my best friend now, and she's like my go-to. She's the only person's number I think I remember off by heart. I'm trying to remember a few of my friends' numbers off by heart too, but my mum's number is the only number I know off by heart. Last compliment I got, I think someone complimented me about my scarf. Yeah, someone said, oh my gosh, I love your scarf, it looks pretty. That was cute. Something I wish I was gifted at. So I mentioned languages before. I also wish I was more gifted in instruments. I wish I had that skill, you know, people can just play multiple instruments, just pick it up and just start playing and strumming and drumming. And I wish I was a bit more gifted in musical areas. I mean, I do sing and I do know how to play guitar very amateurly, but I wish I had a little bit more. However, I'm content. We talk about contentment, haven't we? I am content with what I have. We're not going to go into that. And this is the last question. 5 things that make an average day better for me. They're quite simple. It's the simple things in life that make me happy. So sunshine, a good cup of tea, good sleep, like having a really good refreshing sleep, maybe a deep conversation with a friend or a family member on the phone or Zoom or video call, and cooking a nice meal. So that is the end of this video where I share with you things about me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you feel a bit more connected. I hope you feel a bit inspired with some of the things I've said. Let me know in the comment section 5 things about you. I would love to hear who you are, what you like, where you're from, where you were born, and anything else you want to share with me. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you again in my next one. Bye! First name that I have is Joanne. That is my baptismal or British name, and it means God's gift. God is great. No, it doesn't. God is gracious. Okay. Joanne is my baptismal name. Joanne is my baptismal name. Joanne is my baptismal name. Ooh, what's going on? Am I in focus or am I out of focus now? Because I think that's better. Yeah.